Hello and welcome to another episode of Butler Speed Shop after, what, a 3-4 month hiatus, if that's the pronunciation, must be. We just want to enjoy summer. I did the prop shaft in that last video and we've just used it. We've been camping trips, multiple classic car shows, just enjoyed summer, hence why summer's over and I'm in all this thick gear. Even the MGB got used, which is fantastic. It is rather poorly, which I think I alluded to in a previous video, but it still runs and it will be a backup vehicle in case the Land Rover has a problem. Anyway, obviously the title of this video, and what else is going to be happening in the future? Well, there's a new project, which I'm going to show you in a minute. There is plenty of work to be done on the Land Rover as well, which is fantastic. Obviously that will come up in other videos, but this one is about that. Shall I show you? There's a door there. She is. Welcome to my 1971 Triumph GT6-ish, because there's really not much to it. What you see here is what I got with it. There's a couple of doors, which are actually from a Spitfire, before somebody in the comments goes, oh, no, from a Spitfire. There's a window, a rear window, rear hatch with no window. There's a body and a chassis, which is actually a GT6 chassis. I've checked. As you can see, I was too excited. I was going to film taking the body off and everything, but when we got it back, I was far too excited, so we took the body off anyway. But you can kind of get the gist. She's had Webasto roof. Is that the pronunciation? That's going to give me problems, I know that, but we're just going to have to deal with it. It looks like it has actually had a vinyl top. She's in quite a nice colour. I do like this gunmetal. Somebody has filled some of the seams, but honestly, the camera makes the body look worse than it is. It's had some welding. I'm going to show you that. It's had. Do you call that welding? I don't know. They got the pigeons over anyway. Everyone has to start somewhere, so I'm not going to give them too much grief for that. And those people who have just noticed to the right hand side of it, yes, that isn't a straight 6 engine. That, as the little words say, is a Mazda MX-5 engine, 1.8. So pretty much exactly what's running in my MGB GT. Wasn't the reason why I bought this car. Got to admit, I was drawn to it, but it wasn't the reason why I bought this car. I just wanted a GT6 and I'm tight and I wanted a cheap GT6 that needs to be built. Not quite so much built as this thing's going to need, but built. But we're here now. I've bought it. I'm invested. That's all I can say. She's bare, as you can say. It does need some work. There is, there's a hole right down there, as you can see. Let's zoom in. I mean, yeah, it's crusty. Apart from those bits, this has a new rear valance as well, so that's not too bad. As far as GT6s held Spitfires, anybody who knows them, they tend to rot out completely here because of the brake reservoirs. Well, that is solid. They tend to rot out completely there. Well, obviously, this one has. Then someone's done some plating, which this side's not got one on it, but I do see some filler right there, so we're going to be taking that back. It needs this sill doing, as in terms of this cap. The back end of the sill, we did notice, is, well, non-existent. It's bent all in and it's just cack. So there is a repair panel that takes up that sort of section, providing everything else. Otherwise, we're looking to new rear quarters, but they look completely fine and they're all solid. The other side is completely fine. Like I said before, new rear valance. And it's had a new rear quarter there, because you see the weld mark. The burns from where they've welded it. This side isn't too bad, to be honest. And that's about it. Somebody has gone to town. Let's get the torch on the chassis. They've cleaned it all up and she looks nice. So I can't really grumble too much about the chassis, which I'll show you in a moment. It's had some plates, which, I mean, that one's not bad, is it really? Grind it back and you'd never know. I mean, these bits, you grind them back and just dress up the welds a bit. It's not, I mean, they're not, I'll get my words out in a minute. They're not rotten arches. Here is obviously of some weird opinion. I don't know what you'd call that, but I think we'll cut it out, shall we? It's had plates on the floor as well, which find a herald that hasn't had either full floor pans or plates just there. Same's on that side. I'm not too fussed about those. They will clean up completely fine. As I said before, that hole down in that corner. That one in the passenger corner has had some welding, and you can see mostly bits of spatter and welding wire, so we'll be addressing that as well. This sill, as I've shown, has got the plate. There you go. They've started chopping that out. And I think once I start cutting into that, I think I'll end up redoing this bit, the side piece underneath, and that piece, providing everything else is okay. But she's there. She's got the bones. Didn't pay very much for it. Obviously, people in the comments are going to be going, "I'm glad you didn't pay very much for it," because it doesn't look like you should have paid very much for it. Nope. Got two good doors though, as I said before. There's one there, fantastic, fine, good doors for Spitfires that, well, you're going to be putting a few £100 into anyway. This one's got no internals, so we need to get some internals for it. The other one is a complete door. I just need to check where it's got hinges. It's got the latches and everything else, so that saves me a lot of work. And on the other side of it, I need to check because I haven't looked. Hopefully it's all right. The boot lid is good. They usually rot out across the bottom, which that's the top. They usually rot out completely down here. This one hasn't. Just the down, so it's got no glass. So I'll be buying glass, which is great because I bet it's not cheap. We'll have to see. No rear louvers, but you can get them, which is fine. There is literally no interior. There's no wiring loom. It's been pulled out. But in terms of what, no petrol tank, but going back to the wiring loom, they're not too dissimilar from Spitfire wiring looms anyway. I mean, brake lights are brake lights. I'm not too fussed really. No panelling on the inside, but that is available, but I might have a go at making my own. No headliner, which is going to be an interesting one. But we'll cross all these bridges, won't we? That's part of having a project. Oh, God, it's got magnet on this, so... Ain't no... Well, if there's filler in there, there's not much. Pretty good. Anyway... So, why did I buy it? Well, I think I've already covered that. So, there you go. It's going to take some work. What we'll do is we'll lift the body up and we'll take a look at the chassis. So, she's up in the air. As I mentioned before, that is a 1.8 MX-5 engine, but... This is a 1.6 Mark 1 NA loom. How do I know? Because the crowd went, oh. Because of this. That is your ignition igniter pack, which only the 1.6 Mark 1s had. And how do I know it's a 1.8? Well, the raised lettering, because the Marks 1.6s have indented lettering, 1.8's raised. But anyway, unless it's a VVT, then that's a little bit different. Oh, no, actual fact, no, the 1.6 is... No, a VVT is indented as well. But anyway, also the CAS is on the rear left of it. And this coil pack, I'm pretty sure that is a 1.6 one because... Which looks like it's from a Mark 2. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's a Mark 1. Because they should be 4-pin if they were 1.8, but they're not. So anyway, that's by the by. It does pose a problem because try and find a 1.8 wiring loom. They are literally non-existent. I've even called the breakers and they've even said we haven't had a Mark 1 1.8 in over 2 years. That causes an issue. Now, yes it does, no it doesn't. Now, yes it does cause a problem, but I am, considering it's not my first rodeo, I am fairly certain that most of these, one, aren't required to run the vehicle anyway, especially if you're going standalone, which I'm not decided. Also, there isn't very many of these that go to different areas of the vehicle. Obviously, Mark 1 has doesn't have a variable throttle position sensor. So that's one problem. We know the connector won't even fit, so we know that. But that's fine. You can buy the connector. I'm not too fussed. That's a 4-pin, so yeah, we can get those anyway. It does pose some problems and a little bit of head scratching, but I think I might be able to make that loom work. This is a whole car loom. There is lights, there is some sort of immobiliser in there as well, which will have to come out. There's going to have to be a lot of cutting, but I'm pretty sure there's even rear headlights in there and stuff. So we're going to have to sort it. Now, whoever took it out did butcher it slightly because we've got breaks in the wiring. But they're there and we can easily repair those. So I'm not too fussed too much. And that actual fact is the injector wiring, which I know I'd have to make changes to anyway because of how the wire between 1.8 and 1.6. So there is that. Whether the engine's all right, who knows? So we will need to get it to just turn over by hand just to make sure she does turn over, and we'll go down that road afterwards. A worst case scenario, what would happen if that engine's dead? The easiest route is to get a VVT and slap a VVT in it. But it's down the road. The issue I've got with the chassis, even though it's in a beautiful state, really, I mean, it really is. Somebody's obviously cleaned it all up, painted it, and everything else, is the engine position. The engine is positioned far too forward for the bonnet. So, as you can see, the crank pulley is over the steering rack, and I can get my fingers under there. So, the bonnet I've got with the car is completely shot. It's rusted out. But what they did do to try and make it fit is cut a hole in the bonnet, and it looks like they cut it with their teeth. So I need to sort that out. Obviously, I'm going to get a new bonnet for that anyway. But the engine, if I get a new bonnet, I don't want to be cutting a hole in it. So we need to sort this problem out. Now, my idea is to lower the engine down. Obviously, we can't lower it too much because of the steering rack, but let's move it further back. Now, I've helped people do these installs on Heralds before. And they've also put the engine further back. It obviously puts the shifter a bit further back, but the position it is in the car, it's not going to make much of a difference. And this being a Mark 1 gearbox, we can, if we want to get really clever, move the shifter further forward. You can actually move it to there by shortening this shaft, or the tubes within this shaft. So that's an option. The other problem, which would happen if we move the engine, is the prop shaft. Now, it's not too much of an issue because that prop shaft, you can tell by if you look at it, look at the UJs, they're out of phase, as Gregor said. So we need to sort that out, which means getting a new prop shaft anyway. And they've made that because if you look, it's all been welded up and it's not quite in line. So that needs sorting anyway. So it'd be a new prop shaft regardless. But what we can do is we can use that, as I did with the MGB. I used an original process, welded it up just to make it so the car was moving and there was no clanking or anything, clanging, banging or anything like that, and then took that to a prop shaft place and then got them to make it. So that's going to have to be sorted. As for the rest of the chassis, we need to mount the shocks, which, well, it just needs bolts, really, or one bolt. We need to sort the brakes. They are drum on the rear, so obviously all the brake lines need sorting. Who knows about the diff? The spring looks like it's been replaced. It's got a sticker on it. The rear trailing arm mounts are non-existent, as you can see. So we need to sort that out as well. There's plenty to do, which means plenty of footage for me showing you underneath the body. She's not that bad. I mean, there's a massive whacking great hole there, but that's what we need to sort that. Sort some of these khaki welds out and get rid of any of the surface rust that's on here, but somebody's obviously red oxide underneath here. We'll just clean up the welds and we'll get it looking good. We'll get this looking good. At least a damn sight better than this. And then the idea might be to, as I've been mentioned to me, is use a truck bed liner, like the Raptor stuff, tintable in the colour it's going to be, and I'm leaning towards the original colour of red. So that might be the idea. But in the meantime, there's plenty of things to get on with. First thing, though, is going to be sorting this engine. Luckily, because these are a framed vehicle, I can do, if I get bored of doing fabrication work on whichever. I can move on to wiring, or I can move on to back onto fabrication. Do you see what I mean? There's basically, I've chopped it into two really. By moving the engine though, going back to that, it does mean a little bit more of the shell has got to come out, but I was into building a tunnel regardless, because you can see they've already started chopping it. So it just needs to go back just so that there's a few mil off that front pulley behind the back of the steering rack. So we're talking, well, I don't know if I've got a calipers with me now, I've not, but we're only talking the thickness of that and a little bit more, and just sit it just behind. I think it'll sit better, it'll sit lower because it sits far too high. I mean, they've done a good job. They have used MX5 mounting caps, as in the original ones, turned them upside down and welded them on to get the engine high. I don't quite understand, because the pinion angle is straight on these cars, so the gearbox does need to go down a little bit anyway. But plenty to do. So there we go. Welcome to the new project. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the new project. It doesn't mean that work's stopping on the vehicles. There is stuff here for the Land Rover which I need to get sorted ASAP, really. So I'll obviously be filming that as well. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think I'm mad? Or do you reckon Butler's Speed Shop can pull this one off? Obviously, if you liked the video, hit that like, thumbs up, and please share about. And yeah, I shall see you in the next one.